Good morning, children. Last class we have discussed about the project work. Hope you are doing your project work, children. Now, moving forward with the syllabus, today we are going to learn about the lesson chapter 8 Earthquakes. Yes, so today we are going to learn about chapter 8 Earthquakes. Okay, children, in this lesson you are going to learn the contents of the lesson are first, initially you will know about what is an earthquake, causes and measurement, effects of the earthquakes, earthquake zones of the world. Okay, children, fine. Now first let us know what is an earthquake. Earthquake is nothing but it is a tremor below the surface of the earth which causes shaking of the crust. Okay, children, earthquake is nothing but it is defined as a tremor below the surface of the earth which causes shaking of the crust. It can also be defined as a series of shakes cause sudden earth movement and leads to earthquake, that is faulting. Okay, children, hope you might have followed the definition of an earthquake. Did you hear the word earthquake anytime? Yes, earthquake is nothing but it is a tremor below the surface of the earth which causes shaking of the crust. A series of shakes cause sudden earth movement and leads to earthquake, that is faulting. Okay, children, these devastating tremors are caused by the stresses that break the earth's crust. These earthquakes are the tremors which are caused by the stresses that break the earth's crust. So now let us look into what are the causes of the earthquakes. There are some particular causes which affect which lead to the earthquakes. So initially, children, earthquakes are caused by the strain in the earth's crust, which in turn is a result of a number of factors. Okay, children. Now, a series of shocks that result from sudden earth movement, for example, a fault are known as an earthquake or the seismic waves. The waves spread out from the seismic focus of the earthquake and can cause widespread destruction. Okay, children. So there are some causes of earthquakes. See, children, when the earth's crust is unable to accommodate itself to the strain, it results in a sudden release of tremendous energy in form of a sudden violent shock. It is nothing but there is a tremor, there is a sudden violent shock. So a series of shocks that result from sudden earth movement. For example, along a fault, seismic waves, these waves spread of the earthquake and cause widespread destruction. So, children, for example, down in the western edge of the Pacific Ocean, earthquakes are common because the severity of the earthquakes is measured on the Richter scale. And why it is common? Because of the plate tectonics. Plate tectonics are much more available near the Pacific Ocean. There are some plates where these zones are prone to the earthquake zones. Okay, children, the waves spread out from the seismic focus of the earthquake and can cause widespread destruction also. Okay, so now when we look into the causes of the earthquakes, first the initial cause of the earthquake is a volcanic eruption. Children, earlier we have learnt about the volcano lesson. Already the explanation of the lesson is done to you and notes also was sent to you. Hope you have followed that. Now, the first cause of the earthquake is the volcanoes. Volcanic eruptions are accompanied by earthquakes. During volcanic eruptions, the gases and magma try to escape upward from the interior part of the earth and cause earthquake. Okay, children. Volcanic eruptions are accompanied by earthquakes. During volcanic eruption, the gases and magma try to escape upward from the interior part of the earth and cause earthquakes. Children, the volcanic eruptions are one of the main cause of the earthquakes. During the volcanic eruptions, hot gases are pushed upward and they push violently the earth's crust surface upward, causing earthquake. These volcanic activities and seismic occurrences are interrelated, and earthquake follows a volcanic eruption and a volcanic eruption follows an earthquake. So these violent eruption of volcano between the islands, some islands cause severe earthquake around a vast area and a vast region also. The earthquake generated, it sometimes generates tsunami also, and which creates a lot of destruction, and it can harm to the lives of the many more people. Okay, children. So the one of the most important cause of the earthquake is volcanic eruption. Okay, children. Now the next important cause is plate tectonics. Plate tectonics. According to these plate tectonic theory, the crust of the earth is made up of series of movable plates. So most earthquakes occur on the account of plate movements. This type of earthquakes are most frequent and more powerful. See, when two plates slip past each other or collide against each other, then they adjust and produce faults along the lines of weakness. So this type of earthquakes are most common in the region of Pacific Ring of Fire of the Southeast Asia, Philippines and Indonesia, and northern India along the plate boundaries. Okay, children. So second important cause of the earthquake is most earthquakes occur on account of plate movement. This type of earthquakes are most frequent and more powerful when two plates slip past each other or collide against each other. Then they adjust and produce faults along the lines of weakness. This type of earthquakes are most common in the region of Pacific Ring of Fire of the Southeast Asia, Philippines and Indonesia, and northern India along the plate boundaries. Okay, children, hope you have followed. The second cause is the plate tectonics. These tectonic earthquakes are most frequent. These earthquakes are immensely powerful also. They mostly occur in the Pacific Ring of Fire. For example, in India, a severe earthquake occurred in Bhuj in Gujarat in 2001 due to the lowering of the Indian plate below the Asiatic plate. Refer for the example, children, in your textbook also, page number 62. So whenever a proper example can be given, you can give for the example like Bhuj in Gujarat in 2001 due to lowering of the Indian plate below the Asiatic plate was one of the reasons for the cause for the plate tectonic earthquake. Okay, children, one important cause is volcanoes, and the second one is the plate tectonics, and the third one is folding and faulting. Folding and faulting in the Earth's crust occur due to the internal horizontal and vertical movement. This causes displacement of rocks in the crust. Such an imbalance causes earthquakes. Okay, children. So, folding and faulting. What is folding and faulting? They are the internal horizontal and vertical movements. Internal, horizontal and vertical movement. This causes displacement of rocks in the crust. Such an imbalance causes earthquakes. Okay, children. The main earthquake belts of the world are the Circum-Pacific Mountain Belt, the Mid-Mountain Belt and the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So in these regions, mostly the earthquakes occur. Okay. So the third most important cause of an earthquake is folding and faulting. Now moving on, next cause are the man-made causes. Man-made causes are nothing but the construction of large dams or the impounding of river near faults or the nuclear explosions or the blasting of the rocks or the mining near the faults, etc. All these are the man-made causes which are the reasons or the cause for the earthquakes. Okay, children. So the fourth important cause of earthquakes are the man-made causes. See, for example, the construction of large dams and the impounding of river near fault zones result in the earthquake. Example, you can refer textbook for the examples, children. The Koyna earthquake in Maharashtra dam affected for the earthquake. Okay, and underground explosion in USA caused several earthquakes in river Colorado in 1960. Children, whenever you have an example for a particular cause, refer that. When you are listening to the class, open your textbook, try to underline it and remember the examples. So we try to write the question asked anytime with the help of the example. Okay, children. So quickly let us revise again the causes of earthquakes. So the first important cause is volcanoes. The second one is plate tectonics. Then comes the folding and faulting, and then the man-made causes. Okay, children. Okay, children, now moving on, let us move forward and learn about how the earthquakes are measured, measurement of earthquakes. There are some instruments with which the earthquakes, the frequency is measured. Okay, children. No, so seismograph is the most important instrument used to measure the earthquakes. So the direction of the movement of the waves and the passage at a particular point is recorded by the instrument called seismograph. Seismograph, the Richter scale and the Mercalli scale are used for measuring the direction and intensity of the earthquake. So you can look into the picture, and in your textbook also there is a diagram of the seismograph. So seismograph, it is nothing but it is an instrument used for recording the direction of movement of earthquake waves and their passage at a particular point. The point is the point of origin of seismic waves, the point of origin of seismic waves, which is also known as seismic focus. So you can concentrate on this word, try to know seismic focus is nothing but the point of origin of seismic waves. So this point on the Earth's surface directly is above the seismic focus, which is known as epicenter. So what is an epicenter, children? Epicenter is nothing but the point on the Earth's surface directly above the seismic focus. Okay. So seismograph is an instrument used to measure the intensity and the frequency of the earthquake. Next one is the Richter scale. It is also most commonly used to measure the absolute intensity of an earthquake. It measures the power of an earthquake. It measures the power of an earthquake on a scale of 1 to 9. Okay. Then Mercalli scale. Mercalli scale is an instrument used to measure the intensity of earthquake. It grades the earthquakes on the basis of observed effects on a 12-point scale. Okay, children. This is measured on the basis of the observed effects on a 12-point scale. Okay, children. For example, in Assam earthquake in India in 1897 was a 8.7 magnitude. The Gujarat earthquake in 2001 had a magnitude of only 7.7 on the Richter scale, and yet it caused the greatest damage. Recently in Nepal, an earthquake measuring 7.8 on the Richter scale occurred on April 25, 2015, which killed n number of people and left in more people injured. So this frequency was only 7.8. Okay, children. So the instruments used to measure the intensity of earthquakes are the seismograph, the Richter scale, and the Mercalli scale. Okay, children. Now let us move forward and learn about the effects of earthquakes. Let us learn about the effects of earthquakes. So if there is an earthquake, so what are its effects? So first we learn about the constructive effects. Constructive effects and destructive effects. They are divided into two: constructive effects and destructive effects. First, the constructive effect is they release lot of energy. So there is an energy release. There is an energy release. The stored energy in the earth is released by earthquake and helps to keep the earth in a good shape. So children, energy is released. So the stored up energy of the earth is released from earthquake and helps to keep the earth in good shape. It helps to keep the earth in good shape. Next, the landforms are formed. Landforms are nothing but already you have learned: mountains, plateaus, plains. All these landforms are. These earthquakes may raise or lower the crust and cause new landforms. Example: highlands, valleys, etc. Okay, and even the mountains and valleys, as I said, all these are formed because of the constructive effects. So now next one is the destructive effects. As you know, there is a lot of destruction when these earthquakes occur. So first, it can be a collapse of the structures, like the man-made structures like buildings, roads, railways, tracks, factories, whatever it can be. There is a these structures. There's a collapse of these structures. Humans have settlements, isn't it, children? Humans have settlements in many places. So there can be the collapse of these structures. Often the houses and other structures collapse, causing great loss of the property. Yes, children? Yes. Now, next one is the course of the rivers. Course of the river, when there is an earthquake, the river changes its course, and thus they render many areas unsuitable for irrigation and agriculture. Okay. When there is an earthquake, the rivers, they change their course and they leave many areas or many agricultural area which is unsuitable for irrigation. Okay, children. Next is danger to the human life. As you know, the term itself explains to you that there is a harm, or there is a many earthquakes in the past have hundreds of lakhs of people left threat to their life. Okay, children. The falling of the trees, the poles, the collapse of the structures, landslides, floods, and they kill many of the people. So it is a danger to the human life. Next one is the landslide. What is a landslide, children? Yes, landslide is nothing but when there is a slide of the land, that is known as a landslide. It can be due to the heavy rains or so on. Okay, children. Now next, let us learn about the fires. During earthquakes, fires break out due to the inflammable material thrown out, broken gas pipes, and bursting of gas cylinders. Besides, they damage oil refineries, and live electric wires catch fire and damage life and property in the towns and factory complexes. Okay, children? Then it can be a tsunami also. This is also one of the destructive effects. So a tsunami is a large destruction of ocean wave that can be generated by the disturbance that rapidly displaces a large mass of water. Okay, children. So this also causes such a earthquake like the other causes. The name itself says there is a large shake, tremor in the surface of the water, like in the oceans, and there is a large shake in the surface of the water, which is known as tsunami. Tsunamis occur most frequently in the Pacific Ocean. But the global phenomenon, they are possible wherever large bodies of water are found, including inland lakes, and where they can be caused by landslides also. Children, there was a serious tsunami. The major destruction was in 2004. You can have an example in your textbook. It is given 2004 in the Indian Ocean. The earthquake triggered a series of the tsunamis on December 26, which has a lot of destruction, killing so many lakhs of people, and it recorded a history of a deadliest tsunami in the history. In the 2004, it was in the Indian Ocean. And then all these are the destructive effects. So constructive effects are, there is a energy release, landforms are formed. The destructive effects are collapse of the structures, danger to human life, landslides, fires, and tsunami also. Okay, children. So now Okay, children. Now let us know about the earthquake zones of the world. As you can see in the map also, there are the earthquake zones of the world. Earthquake zones of the world are the Circum-Pacific Mountain Belt and the Mid-World Mountain Belt and the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. The Circum-Pacific Mountain Belt, this belt has 70% of all earthquakes. A part of the San Andreas Fault in the USA lies in this belt. This fault zone makes California in USA highly prone to earthquakes. Okay, children. Then the area of Japan, the Philippines and Indonesia all form parts of this belt and prone to severe earthquakes. Okay. Then the Mid-World Mountain Belt. It stretches from Eastern Europe covering alpine Himalayan ranges in Europe and also Asia. About 20% of all earthquakes occur in this zone. The next one is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. This belt comprises areas along the mid-oceanic ridges as well as many islands near the ridges of the Atlantic Ocean, and remaining 10% of the earthquakes occur in this belt. So the Rift Valley of East Africa is considered as an extension of the belt. So these are the most earthquakes originate from the plate boundaries. In these regions where an ocean plate and land plate coverage, submarine ridges are formed. Okay, children. So the main earthquake belts of the world are the Circum-Pacific Mountain Belt, the Mid-World Mountain Belt and the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Okay, children. So now let us quickly revise what is an earthquake and the causes of the earthquakes and the measurement, the instruments used to measure earthquakes and the effects of earthquakes. Okay, children. So as I have already taught you, what is an earthquake? Earthquake is nothing but it is a tremor below the surface of the earth which causes the shaking of the crust. Okay. Now next, what are the causes of the earthquakes? The first important cause is the volcanoes. Second one, it is the plate tectonics. And third one, folding and faulting. And the last one is the man-made causes. Okay, children. Then measurement of an earthquake. How an earthquake is measured? It is measured by using the seismograph and also by Richter scale and the Mercalli scale. So what is a seismograph, children? Yes, it is an instrument used for recording the direction of movement of earthquake. Okay. Then Richter scale and the Mercalli scale also are the instruments which are used to record the intensity and frequency of the earthquakes. Now next, the effects of the earthquakes are the constructive effects and the destructive effects. Constructive effects are energy release and landforms, and the destructive effects are the collapse of the structures, danger to human life, landslides, fires and tsunami. Okay. Children, what is a tsunami? Can you define it? What is a tsunami? Yes, tsunami is nothing but a large destructive ocean wave. It is known as a harbor wave also. This type of waves most frequently occur in the Pacific Ocean. There are some causes of this tsunami. There are some causes because of the oceanic earthquakes or the volcanic eruptions or the landslides, etc. Landslides are nothing but they are the faulting. Okay, children. Then after the effects of the earthquakes, then the earthquake zones of the world are the Circum-Pacific Mountain Belt and the Mid-World Mountain Belt and the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Children, hope you have followed the lesson earthquake, which is very simple for you. You need to learn this lesson along with the suitable examples given related with the examples and learn, and the notes will be sent to you. So copy down the notes properly, and after the worksheet is sent to you, mark it in referring the textbook, answer the worksheet in your homework book. Notes can be written in your classwork book. Children, again and again we are stressing you, when you listen to the classes, as and when the recordings are sent to you, listen carefully with the recordings in the help of the textbook in front of you. Refer as and when teachers are telling you to refer it with an example or this is an important point. Try to underline them immediately. Make a note of it and then you can read it later on and copy down the notes and so on. Okay, children.